In this video, traders, we look at Spotify. What's the business model? What's it doing right? And why is the stock surging so much? Stay tuned. Hey traders, warm welcome to you. All right, so Spotify, as I'm filming this, is going crazy. It's rallied really aggressively and something is just starting to get going. And there's a lot of reasons why this stock has suddenly started to take off and why I think it's taken such a while for it to get going. So Spotify, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Spotify is. It's a subscription service, so that's the premium model. The free model is an advertised-based model. You can stream your music, your podcasts. We'll get to podcasts in a moment. The premium model, you pay a monthly subscription. I use Spotify, and really handy for all your music and your podcasts and stuff. And the podcast has been quite a new growth area. And I think when you look back across the previous few years, the music has been they've been attacked by Apple Music. They've been attacked by that company. Was it Tide, which kind of got going and then stopped. I think it was Tide. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. A lot of money's been thrown at streaming music. I know Amazon are in it as well with the Prime. So, Spotify's always been, even though it's got a good kind of client base and it's got a good early adopter or early move and got a little bit of a trench going and people are using it. And I know myself, I'm reluctant to go and use Apple Music when I've already got all my playlists and stuff on Spotify. I'm sure there's a way of transferring stuff over, but you get the idea. Most of you are the same. You once you've used something, unless it's that much of a big reason to change, it's not, that price isn't that much, it's relatively cheap anyway, Spotify, but you get the idea. But podcasts now, this is where we get interesting, guys, because Apple have been doing obviously podcasts for a long time. There's the home of the podcast app, etc. But I still consume my podcast on Spotify purely because, let's say I'm driving in the car, I might have some music and I might listen to a podcast, I might listen to an audiobook on Audible. Some great training books on Audible, and also because that's just, you want some central area to do it. Now, the interesting thing with Spotify is they've started to realize that if they can have exclusivity on very popular people or popular topics, then that means that they're going to pull more people into the platform, which means there'll be more subscribers. It's a brilliant business model. And actually, recently they signed up Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's super popular. He's on YouTube. He's interviewed Elon Musk. Go and check him out. Some great interviews there. Other people as well, obviously. Super popular. One of the biggest podcasts out there, if not the biggest. And he's signed exclusivity deals so that all of his stuff eventually will just be on Spotify, as far as I'm aware. And it's rumored to be around the $100 million mark for him over however many years it is. So this is quite a clever move from Spotify, because it starts to, I think this is where companies are going to go, by the way. I think this is a theme that we'll start to see really taking off in the future, is that platforms where there are videos, where there are podcasts, where there are photos, any platform where people are sharing things will want to grab exclusivity on the most popular people. Spotify have done it with Joe Rogan. They've also now done it with Kim Kardashian. And this, I believe, is a good move, and why also, if you look at the street, really responding well to it. The stock price has rallied aggressively from that. And whilst, yes, it might seem expensive on the face of it, but if you think about how much more value that will bring to the company by bringing all these people in who can only get the person they like on that platform, many of those are going to sign up and become premium subscribers. Many of those are obviously going to be worth something from the ad-based model. And this feels to me like Spotify have got a real head start on this, because these are some of the first people who have really gone out and said, you know what, it's worth us committing to getting these people on. And they've gone for big guys as well, big, Joe Rogan and Kim Kardashian, let's be honest, are pretty big out there. They've gone early and said, okay, let's grab these now. And they're starting to take some of the market share away. And they also realize that, hey, if we can really start to cement this area across the different sectors that we want, all the different topics that we want, all of a sudden we know we can promote to certain people. So they'll know the demographic of the people who are listening to Kim Kardashian stuff, and they'll start to promote their music to them, or they'll start to promote other podcasts, and they can start to then use that one customer and spread them across all the different things that they offer on Spotify. Same with Joe Rogan. So, and they've also done, I think, a deal recently with Marvel Comics to have some kind of superheroes doing podcasts and stuff. So brilliant move, I think, from a business perspective from Spotify. Very clever. I think this is the trend that's going to start to really get some traction over the next few years. I think creators, if they're a good creator and got a good following, are going to be in very much demand, and companies are going to pay a lot to have the very best exclusive on their platform. So how does that kind of set for us as traders? Well, obviously Spotify is going to be the kind of big one to watch, and we're interested to see where the stock goes in the next few months and few years. Netflix, of course, is the other one. We've got Disney with the Disney Plus, so keep your eye on any of these streaming services: Disney Plus, Netflix, and some of the other smaller ones that are starting to come up. We might also see, I think, some IPOs from some smaller companies that are still doing well and still have maybe a decent podcast platform or something, and we might see more companies starting to really get venture capital coming in and say, hey, if we can sign exclusivity with X, Y, and Z, it means that we know that we can start to extrapolate over 5 years' time how many users that's going to bring in based on what their user base is on Instagram and the current Spotify platform. We then think we can convert X% of those into customers. Here's our return on the investment, and that might start to look attractive for a lot of people. So I think that's a trend. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. At the end of the day, this is purely speculation and purely just my opinion on this thing, but seeing as well how the stock prices responded, particularly with Spotify, to this new aggressive method of locking in specific creators on their platform, I think other people are agreeing with me and think this is a good move for Spotify as well. So let me know, guys, if you think of any stocks as well that could benefit from this, or if you think of any other ideas based around this theme. Let's collectively think about this. And if you've got anything, stick it in the comments section below. But meanwhile, let's keep an eye on Spotify. It's gapping up today as I'm filming this. $6 or so. It's definitely on my strong list. Broken out this flag area. Obviously, there's a bit of news that's helped it out. Looks like I'm going to have to wait for a bit of a deep pullback to kind of play this, but it's definitely on my strong stocks play list anyway, regardless of whether there's a nice catalyst or not. And earnings coming up as well, I noticed on TradingView in a few weeks' time. Take care, keep this managed. Bye bye.